So let's go here. Let's start with the CU podcast question and answer. I should do
Saborcon character.
I I should do a little production for this, like question and answer with Pat and Ian.
Like I said, I can make up some ditties.
I did electronic music in college too. I know a little bit about production.
But did you do ditties?
Come on, what do you think the Flea Market Madness theme is? And they asked Frankie, those are ditties. I'm a great jingle writer, you have to admit.
I don't have to admit anything.
All right, let's start. Question from Adam Principe. How do I listen to your CU podcast on your website? Well, you go to the post that has the website, has the podcast on it. That'll be up tomorrow. Or you go to iTunes.
ThePunkEffect.com.
ThePunkEffect.com.
There you go. And yeah, it's right there. Or any of the places that we previously mentioned now have it. It's getting easier with each week.
M. Geiger2341 asks us, have you joined the Force? Nintendo Force. Ian, have you?
I believe that's the new magazine. And no, I haven't, because I like Nintendo quite a bit. The 3DS is my favorite current system, but I don't want to subscribe to a magazine that is focused solely on one company, because my interest in games is spread a bit too far. I just don't really have the money.
Who's publishing this magazine? I had no idea.
I don't remember. I believe there was a Kickstarter for it as well.
Oh, there was?
I believe. And it's supposed to be very, very, very nice. Like I said, I don't have the money for system-specific magazines.
Yeah, within a year or two, it'll just be just the 3DS magazine
well,
that we use.
Yeah, at which point I might get it. But if half of it's devoted to a system I don't have yet and might not have,
Is it in stores or just digital? They've done 5 issues? Wow, I had no idea.
I believe it's print.
It's digital, $4.99. Print plus digital, $19.99. $19.99? Did I see that right? Wow, that's a lot for a magazine.
It is. That is. But to the Nintendo faithful, I'm sure it's very cool.
I was thinking like $8-9 for a magazine might be reasonable, but anyway.
In the modern era, I could see 10, but 20, that's tough to swallow.
If they don't have any advertisers at all, I can see that.
Sure.
But even still, that's hefty. It's 6 times a year, $120. I bet you 99% of people do digital anyway.
Yeah, sure.
I thought I was joking at first with that. I was like, Nintendo Force? I was like, really? Nintendo Force?
No, it's a magazine. Good thing you have me.
Right. Power Force? That's kind of that name could be a better name, but whatever. I'm not going to get on criticizing since I'm now involved with the magazine, supposedly. So, next question. This is from at 7 Minute Psycho. In terms of collecting, how do you manage security, e.g. from burglary? Does insurance cover video games? How do you manage security? Well, you hope people don't break in and get your stuff, or get yourself a gun and shoot them. I don't know. But in terms of insurance, if you have homeowners insurance, it covers anything in your house from theft or damage up to a certain value. It could be $25,000, $50,000 or more. Depends on how much coverage you want. It's nothing special. It covers everything. It covers your dishwasher, your clothes from getting stolen, anything.
The Cadbury cream eggs.
Cadbury cream eggs, which I still have like 12 left from Easter last year. But in terms of games, it's the same thing. Now, there is something called collectible insurance that's out there at Comic-Con. There's even a guy selling insurance for stuff that covers stuff special like video games and comics, video games. The difference between that is that since they specialize in that, they know more or less, I guess, they know what is actually viable for your claims. They know what's out there. The good news with me, though, separate from that, and I've thought about doing that extra. I mean, I have homeowners insurance, so a chunk would be covered if something bad happened. Good thing I have this mostly documented in the video you helped out with as evidence and my other videos, so people would know that, hey, I have a shitload of games. And it's very well documented also that I have both NWC cards, even though those are not kept on the premises. Hear that, burglars? They're not here, so don't come here. So homeowners insurance, you can always get extra insurance out there. Just search online.
We keep those in my oven. Actually.
In your oven?
Yeah. And I use old-fashioned methods. I use circles of salt and hexes, and that keeps most people away from my shit.
Circles of salt. Okay, we're going way back to the pagan rituals then. In terms of collecting anime, okay. This is from Jace Nakarado, and I think he was getting on me for not pronouncing his name right last 2 weeks.
I think it's Nakarado.
Sure.
I mean, he hyphens it out. I saw the question.
Okay. But you said it correctly. I didn't. Sorry.
One of us
Jace.
will. He'll let us know.
Yo, Pat and Ian, what's your best game pickup story in the wild? Store Flea market, question mark. P.S. Pat, play more handhelds. Thanks, guys.
You should.
What's your best game pickup story in the wild? You first. You've had a few good ones.
Yeah, I've had a couple good ones, and I'll do three. The two best were, well, if you want to talk about single game pickups, were I've found both the Keltron 6-in-1 complete in the box in the wild for, I believe that was 12.
Which I bought from you. You still haven't found that box for me.
Yeah,
Or
12,
manual.
$12.
Find them.
That got me to see Daft Punk.
Find them.
I sold it to you. Yes. And then I got a box complete Action 52 with the comic for about 15. Now this was 99, 2000 at the latest, maybe 2001. So this was quite a long time ago. But even then, those were, I mean, in that condition, those are probably $50, $7,500 complete, I would say. You know, they should have been.
7,500? What did you say?
50 to 75 to 100.
At the time, 99, an Ash 52
would have been 50, I think.
$50 at most.
I think 50. The Caltron would have been more.
Maybe. I wasn't tracking prices for everything in 99.
I know the Action 52 would definitely have been about 50.
I mean, I got mine for 50 plus complete in 2008. It was still that cheap.
Yeah.
But that was a deal. It was probably like 80, 90. That was one that kind of slid under the radar until probably James Rolfe reviewed it, probably for the most part.
But those were cool to find in the wild. I think my favorite in the wild purchase, and I'll try to keep it quick. It wasn't really a game so much as it was a store. There was a place in the basement of the Eaton Center in Toronto, which is a huge shopping mall in
the
Toronto.
Eaton Center?
Yeah.
I think, man, it's a giant place, just like a restaurant.
No.
The Eaton Center.
The Eaton apostrophe. No, it's a giant mall in Toronto, and in the basement there was a video game store called Video Game Connections in about, this would have been 99. And they just had a case just filled, probably 300, 400 sealed NES games. All of them.
Wow.
All of them between $5 and $15 Canadian dollars at a time where the US dollar was getting you $1.50 to $1.40 to $1.50 Canadian.
So you could have cleaned up.
So what I did was I went back and my parents gave me money and said, buy your Christmas presents. And I bought 15 sealed Nintendo games. My parents wrapped them all and gave them to me for Christmas. And I relived my childhood by opening 15 sealed Nintendo games. And that would have been like right before 2000 rolled around. And it was awesome.
That's a great story. That's about the time, 2000, when it wasn't so far removed that something that could happen. You could find boxes of sealed games or new old stock.
Yeah, it wasn't like
rental stores were just starting to get closed out from Blockbuster in the late 90s. They were starting to get knocked out, so they were going to get rid of their games and stuff as well.
That's my thing. It wasn't like I don't want to imply that was an insanely good deal. It was a good deal, but it wasn't insane. It was insane.
It's insane to find it at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
You look at what a sealed average PlayStation game goes for now, and it's about. I mean, it's a little bit more than that, maybe 20. For a decent one. But I mean, I got
cheap ones are $5.
I got most of the Disney games sealed, and like I said, it wasn't like it was just cool to find them all in that spot, and that was a really fun morning to like rip the seal off of all of these games and then go play them.
How could you rip the games off the seal? Oh my god!
Because it was goddamn fun. So
we're gonna have another controversy in the comments, but
yeah, well, everyone,
it's a hypocrite.
People do hate me.
Hey Pat, how much are you selling your games for?
I would like to see some transparency. I demand it of my internet celebrities. What was your best find?
Well, first I was gonna say I still marvel at the fact that an Action 52 got all the way from Florida to Buffalo, but some may have moved with it. That to me is really weird.
Yeah, just sitting there, chilling in a box.
Or the one person that was unlucky enough to actually order it.
Yeah.
From the commercial they somehow got from the magazine. My best find in the wild, best game pick. I saw this before that. I haven't had a lot of great game finds in the wild. I don't count the NWC as in the wild. I didn't find that at the swap meet.
It was in the wild for me, but yeah, different.
I found a Zombie Nation when it was a $140 game, so that was like last year. And I got it for $10 from the reseller. Caught him slipping, and you know what? And I don't care when I do that. First of all, to get away from him, but also because these are a lot of games that I spent a lot of money on eBay for to begin with. Yeah. So it's a little retribution for myself. But I was never good at finding NES games. I was always good at finding systems. My Sears Telegames, what was it called? Video Arcade 2 or whatever. Basically the Sears Telegames 2 in the box complete. That's extremely hard to find even loose. I have it complete in the box. What was the other one? Atari Jaguar in the box complete. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that I find more often than not.
Yeah,
So.
when you call me up every week with your,
It's not every week.
it's every week with your flea market finds. It's always systems and stuff that you find that are cooler than games. You definitely are luckier with hardware.
It's drying up. With so many sellers, even the past 2.5, even 2 years, not even 2.5, but last 2 years, so many more sellers, even past a year and a half, that you never see Super Nintendo games anymore. You never see N64 games.
Yeah.
It never gets to the point because 6 o'clock in the morning, the other sellers walking around getting them.
You just walk around the flea market, it's just nothing but crying children and collectors, just
Yeah.
sad and
Well,
upset
crying me.
about
But no,
Pat
no,
sobbing.
no. Seriously, you think Super Nintendo games don't exist anymore because you don't see them. It's like the strangest thing. You'll still find NES games once in a while, but you won't find like 25 Super Nintendo games sitting there.
I see them every day.
Yes, because you work in a store. This is from Ian Montgomery, who actually writes at The Punk Effect. Ian Montgomery, 86. He's the movie reviewer on the site. He does Third Door from the Right.
Hello, another Ian.
Or Second Door. I don't remember. Sure, I'm bad. Have either of you seen Alfonso Cuarón's Gravity? If so, what were reactions? No, we haven't seen it.
We actually discussed this before the podcast.
Yeah.
I would like to. It struck me as odd how this was a movie where it seemed like there was no holds barred on spoilers. It was like the day it came out, everyone was talking about it everywhere. I couldn't. I've done a good job of not paying attention to it, but I realized I need to go see it very, very soon if I want there to be any movie left for me to see. But I would like to catch it.
Alfonso Cuarón did an amazing movie called Children of Men.
Mm-hmm.
That was fantastic. I saw it in the theater. Clive Owen creates an actual sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
And really, really good. He also did, I believe, one of the BMW short films that Clive Owen did 10 years back. Remember those?
I do.
Those were the first time, really the first time, 2003, the first time that you had companies really advertising via the internet. That was really the first time.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember those because I do remember them.
I have them on DVD. They did 2 seasons, and then you had big directors did those. You had Guy Ritchie do one.
Yeah, okay, that's the one that I remember more.
There was 8 total. There was 5 the first season, 3 the last. You had Ang Lee do one.
Yeah.
You had the late great Frankenheimer do Frankenheimer. Yeah, he did one. Anyway, so Clive Owen was involved with that. I guess they hooked up again for Children of Men. But anyway, he's a great director. But no, we haven't seen it. It looks interesting. It looks different, at least.
Yes.
This is from Demon Owen Garth, Twitter. Have you ever really liked the look of a video game but had no idea how to play it? E.g., Dungeon Master for the SNES. And I know exactly what I'm going to say.
Yeah, that's basically my entire lifelong fascination with fighting games. I love them, and I mean, the deeper systems are always beyond me. A more serious answer is, yeah, I've always been fascinated with, they made a version of it for the Nintendo, but it was always popular as a free game on Windows, that stupid Cell Life game where you click. Okay. I've never understood the mechanics behind it. I'm sure it's easy. It's fascinating to watch everything play out. Yeah, Mutant Virus is the version of it on the Nintendo.
I couldn't figure that out when I played it a few weeks ago.
But that is definitely a game where, like, I love the look of it, especially just the simple Windows version, watching all the red and blue pieces, like, move in these patterns. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing in that game.
You can almost guess what I'm going to say. Will Harvey's the Immortal. It looks fantastic. I can't figure out what the hell I'm doing when I play it.
What you're doing when you play that, there's an emergent game that comes from that. It's called it's like a little bit like Pokemon. It's collect all the death animations. You want to see all 35 death animations in Will Harvey's the Immortal, and then you turn the game off.
It's like playing Space Quest.
Yeah,
they're fun. This is from Yara of My Desert, who's Helen, who I know. For Ian,
Hi.
What makes working a game store worth it to you in terms of enjoyment, besides the games? Happy face.
Well, thank you for the happy face. It's funny, the games, I was chatting with some new hires today about it. The first 6 months you work there, you spend all of your paycheck on games, and then by the time you've been there 7 years, like I have, you get kind of sick of seeing them. It's not that you don't like games, so it's not the games. What I like about my job is honestly the people I have met through working there. I mean that seriously. When you work at a job that is so specific to your interests. You are likely to meet people who are similar to you or people that you will get along with. I have met Pat through the store.
Who's Pat?
Fuck you.
Wow,
This
harsh.
asshole sitting across from me.
That's harsh.
I met my girlfriend, whom I love very much, through the store.
You didn't tell me that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I met Bonnie through the store. I met two of my closest friends in San Diego, Anthony and Art, through the store. I've had so many good conversations, and I've met so many cool people, so many good stories. You know, I remember these two customers who moved away because of military reasons.
Yeah.
But, you know, we were all on a Power Rangers kick, and they finally got a copy of the Power Rangers fighting game, and they brought it in. And we basically just stopped doing work for 2 hours, and we sat around playing Power Rangers fighting game on the
Aw.
Super Nintendo. And that's what I really love about my job is it's not the easy access to games, which is what people think. And people also think that we slack off and play games all day. We really don't.
No.
Stories like the one where we played the Power Rangers fighting game are 2-3 times a year maybe, but I mean at least 5 times a week I have a really good conversation with someone, and one good customer makes up for all the asshole customers. So yeah, I meet a lot of cool people through my job.
Oh, there you go. All right. Thought it'd be more funny, but all right. No, I'm kidding. Next up, I guess this is concerning my series for Ian again. And by the way, you keep slipping back more out of the camera, which I think is funny. There you go. What is your favorite regular show episode?
Oh man,
This is like a trick question. You have to actually watch them to know.
he's not talking about you.
You think so? What do you think? He's
Regular
talking about?
show's a cartoon.
Oh, he doesn't have it capitalized.
Yeah, it's a cartoon. I like the ones where the thing about regular show that I like the most is that the characters are very fleshed out, despite the fact that upon initial looks, the show is just random and stupid. And it's not. The characters have a lot of development, so I like the episodes where they develop the characters the most. So my favorite episodes would probably be Camping Can Be Cool, because I like any episode that has Mordecai, Rigby, Eileen, and Margaret in it.
No idea what you're talking about.
That's fine. You don't have to. The question wasn't for you.
I'm gonna
I also like Wrap It Up, because that's a good Pops episode. And
Ooh, Street Fighter 2.
I really like, there's like 3 or 4 episodes at the end of season 4 that really build on Benson. And Benson's my absolute favorite character in the show. So yeah, I would say probably Camping is Cool and A Bunch of Baby Ducks would be really close.
Not great. Yeah.
Try watching something.
I do watch. I watch shows.
Burn Notice.
Burn Notice. It ended a few weeks ago. I'm very sad about that. 7 great seasons of fun.
7
in
great
Miami.
seasons of fun. Is that that should be the tagline for your season 7 DVD?
This is from Duran0004. I guess Duran, who writes in the Punk Effect
Nice.
on Overthinking It. On my podcast, let's plug his own podcast. We discuss explaining the 90s to kids in the future. How would you all explain arcades? I would, if he means vintage arcades, not ones that are around, because I don't think arcades will ever totally die out at this point.
Let's assume, just for our talking
They
points,
will?
that he's talking 88 to 98.
Or
So, like, height.
78 to 98.
Sure, yeah, height of
You know.
arcades, sure.
It is, they were specialized video games that were not available to play on a console for the most part. At least they're the better versions for the most part. And they were gathering. They were very loud rooms, usually bright colors. And it was a gathering of gamers that could come together and play games together, have fun. It was a hangout. It was social. It was probably the first time you had socialized video gaming.
Right.
That's how I would describe it. And that's the reason why I think that it's coming back. It's because people are recapturing that it's a lot more fun to go to an arcade and see other people and play. You can play arcade games on your Xbox Live. You can play Final Fight. You can play Street Fighter. But is that as fun as going to an arcade and being with people? No, it's not.
Right. I would probably hit on a lot of the same points you did, especially the the social aspect of it. What I would also point out, what I always thought was really cool about arcades, which is something that we will never really get back again because of the internet, is The arcade was not only a social place where you went and played games against or with people, but it was where you exchanged information about games.
Sure.
That's how you learned the fatalities for your favorite character in Mortal Kombat. That's how you learned how to play the tank game that was hidden in NBA Jam.
Yes.
It wasn't the internet. It was you knew someone at the arcade who told you.
It was on the cusp. 93, you could go online and like CompuServe and find it out maybe, but most people didn't have the internet.
Right, the majority of people
95% of people didn't have the internet in 93. Probably even less. Was also a place where you discovered new games for the first time. You had no idea what new games were coming out unless you had like a magazine in 80. Imagine going to the arcade the first time and seeing Pac-Man and being like, what the hell is this?
Right, well, touching back on what you said, a lot of games that came to consoles were arcade ports. And they were slightly inferior or very inferior. So you went and you played the real deal. But it was also, if you didn't have a subscription to a magazine, or once again, if you did not have access to the internet, this was where you got a taste of what would possibly be coming to your Genesis, Super Nintendo in the future.
But you had to go to the arcade in those, or at least the early 80s.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
To see what was coming out. You probably had to go every month.
Yeah.
At least to see what games were coming in.
And then cross your fingers that the Atari 2600 port was even remotely close to
I
what
think
you were
that
getting.
time you can probably count on the fact that it wasn't.
Yeah,
Which is a shame. Think about back then how, it was like, at least on the Nintendo, by that point, it was a lot more enjoyable. It's like, okay, the ports were, you can at least get by with the Jackal port or Contra. That at least the Contra port's actually better.
Yeah.
But imagine, you go home, play Pac-Man 2600, and you're like, wow, this is even close. You have to go pump the quarters in. But yeah, I always say I grew up in the wrong sort of decade. should have been born like 6-7 years earlier. I think I've been a lot better. I don't care if I've been older by now, but would have been a millionaire. Would have gotten in the .com craze. But anyway, arcades were fantastic from like 80 to like 85. It was probably the best thing ever.
Oh yeah, what I love is not to get too sidetracked, but it's a Namco thing, so I'm sorry. But
surprise.
There's that game that no one likes called Tower of Draga, but it's huge in Japan. I like it. I like the characters. I like the art.
Is that Castilian?
No, it's not. I like the art. I like the characters. I like the idea of it. And it's a very cryptic game where you move through about, I think it's 50 levels, and on each level there's a hidden treasure, and you've got to meet these absurd requirements, like touch all 4 walls, but they don't tell you what the requirement is. You just have to figure it out, and it's all very random stuff. And the way people who play it now look at it, and they're like, this game is dog shit. How were you supposed to play it? Well, there's stories, and when Draga was released in the arcades, there would be people who would leave notebooks next to it, and when they'd figure out something in a level, they would write it down, and collectively, a group of people at an arcade would go through and beat this game full of secrets. And I'm sorry, we're never going to have something like that again, and that, to me, would have been something very cool to be a part of.
There you have it. Next question. This is from @tryandfindme_. Do you consider it ethical to download the ROM and emulate a game, which is very rare or very expensive to buy?
I think everyone does it at some point. I think if you're gonna spend the money on it, if you're not a collector and you're a player, it depends on where you're coming from. If you're not a collector and you're a player, you kind of have to make sure you're spending the money properly. In
terms of ethics for this topic, I equate it to music downloads. I always equate it to, first of all, if it's something that is readily available, in terms like say it was a new game readily available, then yes, it's not ethical at all. No, it's not at all. It's not even a point. But if it's something that you would never ever buy on your own, and that's how at least I justify people downloading MP3s. People would not go out and buy disco albums if they weren't interested in it. But they might still have upon some MP3s they wanted, and who knows. So I was looking at the thing where it's like, if you're not directly damaging a company, it's a lot more ethical than not. So if you're going to go download the Flintstones Dinosaur Peak, you're not damaging Taito.
Well, in any way. Because here's that's kind of my take on it. Is I own one burn for the PC Engine. It's Sapphire because it's $500. And it's the one game that I would actually consider spending a lot of money on because I really like it. But I don't burn because I like the thrill of finding it and then actually playing it after working hard to find it, and get it. But Sapphire, whatever. The thing is when you're talking about these vintage systems, when you're talking about NES or PC Engine or something like that, a lot of the times if you download G.I. Joe and you play that ROM, you're not hurting. No one would get paid for it if you bought it off a shelf anyways. Mm-hmm. The people who were originally behind it aren't getting paid for it. People who are buying it are buying it because they want to support a scene, they want to support a store, they want to own it themselves. But you're not hurting the original creators.
No, you're hurting a secondhand shop, but unfortunately,
but it helps. But I work in a secondhand shop. That helps people like us.
Okay.
Because people are like, you know what? I'm going to decide between G.I. Joe and G.I. Joe Atlantis Factor.
So
I'm going to download both ROMs. You know what? I like G.I. Joe. They come into the store, they buy G.I. Joe.
So you don't see it as someone that would have bought it, but now is not. You feel it as the true sense of originally piracy was you try it out, then buy it. That's how it was.
Yeah, and you do have people who will just download all the ROMs and they're fine, but I cannot tell you how many times a day, because really it is at least once or twice, people come in, they look around, they're like, man, I got all these ROMs on my phone, but it's just not as much fun to play, and then they pick up a couple of games. You know, like, sure, are we losing sales total? Yeah, probably, but are people still, is it still bringing people into the store to buy stuff? Yes, so sure. I don't see it as particularly damaging. So
it's like the argument of MP3s. You download artists, you might not have, download, then you might buy the album, you might go see them. Not supporting
and that though, I think that depends largely on a person too. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. This is what do you guys? This is 2 questions. We might skip one, but we'll ask you anyway. At Slim _ Miro Kujin, what are you guys currently playing? I'm not playing anything. What about you, Ian?
Currently, I think this is the answer I gave a while back, but I am still actually playing Animal Crossing and trying to collect Halloween masks currently. I'm playing Earth Defense Force 20. I realized this was humorous to me the other day. Playing Earth Defense Force 2017 on my Vita, which is a game in which you kill large ants that are attacking a city.
Oh, you told me. I think I had. Did I buy that one?
That's on the 360. 360 and Vita. And then I am also playing Bugs vs. Tanks, which is level 5 in Kaiji Inafune of Mega Man fame. That's a game where you play as very tiny tanks fighting bugs. So I'm playing 2 bug fighting games right now. My mind is with Pokemon X and Y, which comes out this week. And I'm hoping I can get my hands on it maybe just a touch early if I get my shipment in on time. But that's what I'm really looking forward to. Oh, and I'm thinking about playing some scary visual novels like Corpse Party that you can get for the PSP.
I am playing something.
Halloween.
Well, I just played a lot of it. I played a lot of Rampart at PRGE.
Nice.
And guess who beat the shit out of Rue and Pro Jared at the arcade version?
Not you.
Did.
Yeah.
Not me. I'm the king of Rampart, baby.
Yes, he is. We every once in a while go to Nickel City up in up here, and
we haven't gone in a while. We
should.
I play Wizard of Oz.
Oh, did you know that?
Fantastic.
I'll believe it when I play it. Also, I'll believe it when I play it because the jury's out. But High Dive's got the new Star Trek in.
That was there too. Portland had a great pinball selection. They had about 25 pinball. They had both Black Knights.
Black Knight 2K.
They had the they didn't have the Gopher game. That was at the barcade down there.
No good Gophers.
Oh yeah,
that was golf one.
Yes, that was at the barcade ground control. That wasn't there. But no, it was fun. Wizard of Oz. It was fun. Yeah, the whole rule set. It was actually kind of distracting having the huge LCD.
See, I think
all the stuff going on, but I can see how they can use it better going forward.
If they don't rely on it, if I can still get most of my information from looking at the flashing lights, I'm cool with the added eye candy of the LCD screen. Just I don't want it to all be up there.
Well, that's the thing. They had 4 different things at once. They had 4 different things going on.
That's what I heard, and I'm not super interested.
I think it would take some getting used to. But that was fun. I played a ton of Medieval Madness. I think I was getting ruined to pinball, and Pro Jared, they love Medieval Madness.
It's amazing.
Right. People get into it. They love it.
My buddy Lincoln, who posts on Nintendo Age, he hadn't really played pinball, and he sent me a message today. He's like, dude, that's it. I'm a pinball addict. I took him out to play pinball once or twice with a couple of friends. It's funny. People don't play pinball because it's not around, but if you put someone in front of a machine that's themed on something they like, and you show them real quick, just a couple of the basic rules and how the machine works, it's so much fun to play with a burger next to you or a beer in your hand.
Yeah, I want to get a machine. I'll get rid of this and get a machine, I think, at some point. That'd be cool.
I'm thinking about what my next one would be.
Hopefully Medieval Madness, because that's my favorite by far. It's so fun.
It's fun. I played it to death. I don't need it. But it is good. It is good. I think have you played Attack from Mars?
Yeah.
Attack from Mars, I think, is Medieval Madness, but better. That would be the one, and it's a little bit cheaper too. And I think it's a faster, and I think it's a more fun machine.
It's the same company basically.
It is, and it's really basically the same machine. It's one bash target in the center, just different modes.
The target in the center, It's
The saucer
I know,
goes crazy.
I know.
I'm sorry, I love
I know
Attack
it's the same
Survivors.
theme. It's almost the same number of ramps even. But all right, let's move on. The other question was from this person: Evolution revival of the arcade or merely a fad? I think it's
Barcade, I think that person mentioned because I saw that one.
we said arcade here, but okay, Barcade, Brewcade. I think it's. I don't want to say it's a fad. I think it's people are getting back into the arcades through more people discovering gaming in general. I think it's a good idea. I think it's going to stick around for a while.
I think it's. I hope it's not a fad. I think it's a. I think it's here to stay. People like going out and playing games. You can't. I'm sorry, you cannot feasibly run an arcade without offering
Alcohol.
booze. You can't. No, because you
That's where you
have
make the money.
because you need the markup. You need the markup. Places like Nickel City managed to do it because of parties and stuff like that, and all that, like birthday parties. But most arcades can't cut it if they don't have something high markup like beverages. And I think barcades will stick around. And I think pinball is still gonna see a resurgence in popularity, and so will arcade machines.
I think that might help it having the barcades, and they'll have more machines.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Jersey Jack, second pinball manufacturer, maybe we'll get a third, and then it starts. Yeah, who knows? But like I said, I played Wizard of Oz. It was very well polished. It was fun. You might not like it perfectly, but I mean, it's a new machine.
I want to play it. I
mean,
heard
it's a
Star
new
Trek
machine.
looked cheap, whereas whereas even if I don't like the rule set, there is artistry and beauty in that Wizard of Oz machine. It's gorgeous.
It looks good.
Yeah.
And they're gonna do The Hobbit, which will probably look really nice next year, whenever that comes out.
2014 is when they're doing it. Yeah, next year.
Okay. This is from at Commodore Fan 64. Oh, we skipped Marks. We'll do this one first though. At Commodore Fan 64, what do you think about the Mad Catz micro console at $250 with all the new consoles coming out? I have no idea what that is.
Honestly, I hate to say it, I have no clue.
Sorry about that. This is from at AD at Work, Mark Carr
Mark.
of Indie Game Searchlight, also on the Punk Effect. Push for Ian. Knowing you love DuckTales. I played Shovel Knight, and I think you'd love it. Thoughts?
I think it looks really nice. I don't know a huge amount about it. I will definitely play it when it's released. But more than anything, I just know that the sprite work on it is gorgeous, and I really like the way that it looks. And I will definitely check it out when it comes out, especially if it gets any sort of release on a console, because I just don't PC game. So any quick, fun-to-play game that finds its way to Vita or PSN is something that I will probably buy sight unseen. Like, I don't need to know anything about it. Shovel Knight I know a little bit about, so I'm in.
All right. This is from at Cygnus Destroyer.
Matt?
Matt, what effect do you think the success of the Mighty Number 9 Kickstarter will have on Capcom and the Mega Man franchise?
I don't know if it's going to have a lot of impact on it, but I do think there's a lot of people at Capcom fuming over their idiocy when it came to them being like, we can't do another Mega Man game like this, it's just not going to work.
Well,
and
they canceled 2 Mega Man games, not just
well,
one.
well, they canceled those after Inafune left over the fact that, well, he had a lot of differences with them, but one was that they wouldn't let him make the games that he wanted to make. So he leaves and it's like, here, I'm going to make a game I want to make, and he raises a shit ton of money. And Capcom's like, well, I guess we were fucking wrong, weren't we?
They still can do it. I mean, what was the rumor that Mega Man was going to be in the Wii U Smash? Guess that was a rumor.
It's not a rumor. He's in
Is it confirmed?
Smash. He's in Wii U and 3DS Smash.
Well, there you go. That's probably a way to test the water. Even though I mean that's their most beloved franchise. I don't know why they wouldn't. But you'll see it. Maybe you'll see a revival of the Mega Man universe game that was.
It's never going to be the same. The heart of it's gone. It's
maybe they'll ask him back.
And I don't think he'd take it. And that is the saddest thing about Mega Man to me is if Capcom's like, oh, we were wrong, you still are never going to truly get Mega Man back. The guy who was involved in every single game left.
So if they threw a ton of money at him, he wouldn't come back if he got control of it?
Maybe as outside consulting, but I mean, he's not going to go back to Capcom. He left Capcom for more than just Mega Man reasons.
I'm sure. But if it's his baby, so to speak, maybe he
like
would.
I said, you're right. If they were like, here's a whole grip of money, tell us what to do, but you don't have to be part of us, then yeah, he'd probably do that.
They can always sue him. I'm not sure what copyright infringement's like there, but
It's You've played Fire Pro.
It's weaker than here. I do know
You've
that.
played Fire Pro Wrestling. Yeah. It's basically non-existent.
If that was a U.S. enterprise, he would get sued. Probably he would get sued. But no, it's best of luck. I think it's great. Yeah, it's competition. If it forces Capcom to come out with a new game, whether it's a new Mega Man X, whether it's the Mega Man universe.
Let's broaden it.
The Mega Man universe was so heavily promoted. Remember the videos for it?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's broaden it beyond Capcom. What I hope is that other companies will look at the Mighty Number 9 Kickstarter and be like, there is. And people called me a hipster for this. It's not. It's a matter of time and what you have to play and what you want to play. I hope other companies look at this and go, we can still put a decent amount of money into a game that plays quick and fast and difficult, and it won't be a wash for us.
Sure. And so maybe it goes back to the collective. Maybe other companies do the same thing. The Capcom collective.
Sure.
Maybe my number 9 was a Capcom collective in disguise. Woo!
All right. That was spooky.
One or two more questions we have left. This is from @Spirit31K. How do you feel about game remakes / HD re-releases? I feel like they're going Hollywood, all for the money and not much substance. I think it depends on what title you're talking about. Really?
I feel like we also kind of covered this a little bit last week when someone asked, 2 weeks ago, last podcast, when they asked, what else would we like to see an HD remake of? And for me, the answer is, I don't think it's necessarily. I guess they're going for the money. I don't feel like, and this is the thing, I'm not really that malicious about the DuckTales thing. I just feel like it was misguided. Or maybe it was properly guided for the people who downloaded it, played it, and loved it. But for me, I just wanted the same old game with a fresh coat of paint.
Yeah.
So that's the problem that these developers are finding themselves in. Do they just slap a coat of paint on it and release it? And a number of players will call them cheap and lazy. I wouldn't, but a bunch of people would. Or they have to change a bunch of things, and you get people like me who are like, I don't want to touch it because it's different, and then you get a lot of people who like it. So they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. I don't know that they're going all Hollywood. I don't think they know how to do it.
Yeah, I think that, again, they don't know what that sweet spot is, if there even is a sweet spot.
Right.
You got to know what a DuckTales remaster, which you still haven't played, just because they added in some MacGuffins and some cutscenes.
They make you go through every part of every level.
But again, some people might have said, well, what the hell, is this the same game? Why should I buy it if they didn't put that
No,
in?
I understand the people who like it, and I understand why they like it, and I understand why WayForward did what they did. It's just not for me. And a lot of remakes are probably going to fall victim to those same traps.
Speaking of that, I have to comment on last week when that question, or last time when the question came up about the remakes or sequels. I think it was actually a sequel, what modern sequel, and I said Golgo 13. And someone was like, but Pat, they had a fat conspiracy.
It's not a modern sequel.
And I was just like, you don't realize it? That was a sequel? I was like, and I remember saying in the comment that, yeah, I have it sealed, but also, it's right next to the other game.
Yeah.
You do not think that I know that these are sequels to one another? Like, this is the sequel to this? It's next to it on the shelf. It's been there for years.
I'm not even responding to my critics as harshly as you are.
But that just got me because like, I'm a huge fan of these games. You don't of Golgo 13. I'm a huge fan. I have so much Golgo 13 shit in my garage that I took over from Jersey. I have probably more merchandise from him than anyone living in the U.S. And that may not be hyperbole. You know, I have stuffed animals or plush from Japan sitting there. I don't have any condoms though. Golgo 13 condoms.
We should get some.
I should get that. But anyway, yeah, it's a modern sequel. Golgo 13 would be nice.
Next question.